Duty Belt Explained. Stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Three Rivers Survival. So today what I'm going to talk about is the duty belt. Now, for most people and most agencies, everybody's going to have some type of SOP. I worked for a couple different agencies. Sometimes you have to buy your gear. Sometimes your gear is given to you. I kind of have a hodgepodge of both, and I'm going to explain that. If you're somebody that's in the law enforcement community, someone that's in an agency or security officer, then you're probably going to be very familiar with this. This is just basically me going over some of the options that you might be curious about. I know there's a lot of law enforcement right now that are facing scrutiny based on political views. This has nothing to do with that. So please, if you're someone that doesn't like cops, doesn't like agencies, doesn't like the government, that has nothing to do with this kit. The only reason why I'm showing you this is maybe if you had some questions, or if you are somebody that wears this kind of kit, maybe you have an idea of a better solution. Like I said, the gear that you're going to see here, I've personally worn for a very long time, and it is beat up. It is beat to crap. So with that being said, let's drop it down and get into this. All right, guys. So when it comes to duty gear or duty belt, I'm going to assume that you're someone that is a protector, someone that knows the law, somebody that is either protecting personnel or maybe a building. I did a lot of my work protecting buildings and protecting personnel. So I kind of know what I'm talking about as far as the law goes. However, where you live, where you work, all the laws, all that kind of stuff is just going to differ. And that goes the same thing for the gear itself. Now, the gear itself might be issued, and then you might have to turn it in at the end of your stay with that agency. But if not, other agencies, you have to actually buy your own gear, which can get quite expensive. I do find that with the new product, like the Fedoras, the Velcro, and of course with Kydex, also injected molded like this nice gear like Safariland. This is a 7360, I believe. I'll annotate that down below. The plastics are a lot lighter. Somebody that is going to perform their duties while on either patrol or at a static function where you're standing at gate or standing guard, you're gonna have to understand that weight is going to hurt you. Okay, so the more weight that you have on this belt, the more it's gonna hurt you. Now, a lot of agencies have went to the vest itself. So the vest carries a lot of this gear. Also, you won't see on here a taser, another non-lethal option, which I think are fantastic. Most tasers are not issued to the person or the security agent. What they are is they just take them out of the armory for that shift, and then they bring them back. They also have to be tested, and there's also a bunch of protocols that go along with it. Also, as far as firearms qualification, that agency or bureau or department will have an annual qualification. So you can't just put this gun belt on and say, hey boss, I'm here for work. You actually have to qualify with the weapon of choice. Your weapon of choice is going to depend on what your agency or department allows you to use. Some agencies or departments will allow you to purchase your own firearm and use it for job businesses or while you're on duty. All states will have varying degrees of legality as far as carrying a firearm as a uniformed protector or agent or police officer. Okay. Also, non-lethal devices such as the Aspeton or a baton or even OC spray, you're going to need to get qualified in that. All right. A lot of the times these agencies, whether they are private or whether they work for the state or for the government, will have some type of qualifier for those devices. And the reason is basically liability. Okay. You cannot put stuff on your belt that you are not trained in. If you do hurt somebody with one of those devices and you are not trained, not only are you going to get sued, but that agency or department will get sued. Okay, so you have to be qualified. I am qualified in Mondoc, which means that I can use these two types of batons. I'm also qualified in OC spray. I went through all the classes. Also, I am qualified in taser. Again, the taser is not here because again, that's an agency device. I don't carry that around. And again, the firearm is actually mine, but for this video on YouTube, I took the firearm out because of the way YouTube algorithms use. Also, what I want to talk about is first aid. A lot of companies right now are big into first aid or IFAKs, individual first aid kits. I think a patrol officer or somebody that will carry a firearm that has to make holes also needs to train you on how to plug holes. All right. First responder first aid is available on, I believe, the American Red Cross. There's also TCCC. Make sure you get some training on your tourniquets as well. A lot of people want to carry multiple tourniquets. I don't have an issue with that. I will say that if you are standing in a capacity where you are a protector, this is not going to war, all right? You are not a war combatant. You're probably working with the public. You're probably working with some building manager. You're probably working on a construction site or maybe a gate guard, all right? You don't need to be loaded up to the hilt, okay? So if you are an M4 qualified and your agency allows you to have an M4, I would have an M4 mag pouch on this belt, and I would just keep one magazine in there and call it good, all right? We're not going to war. It's just for the protection of within those legal limits. All right, guys, let's start with the belts. A lot of the belts that you're going to see on the market or with some police departments is this leather belt. I think it's about a 3-inch and it has double buckles, or it looks like it has double buckles. And I'm going to tell you from experience, these things are cheap as hell. They don't hold up. A lot of the times they do break in, but you can see all the fraying, and this thing is not even that old. Also, this screw right here will come out eventually if it's not Loctited. They're probably made by the cheapest common denominator. I would not recommend this belt, especially now in the market where we have all this great Condora and we have very, very good belts now, all right? So I would not recommend this belt. However, if your agency is SOP specific and this is all you have, that's all you have, right? This is a Blackhawk Condora belt. It is very, very lightweight. It is very, very thick. There is no metal inside of here, but what I do like about it is this. This is the loop as far as hook and loop goes, and what this allows you to do, instead of using old style belt keepers, you can use a Velcro inner belt, and the Velcro inner belt goes around your pants, and then this just goes right over it. All right, so that works out very well. The only thing that I would suggest is to change the buckle. The buckle is plastic, it is serviceable, it will work, but on this one right here, I did change it to a metal buckle. They are larger Cobra buckles, and you can buy that on Amazon.com and just change it out. It is very easy to adjust. Inside here, it is just all Velcro. So you can see right here, it has these little keepers. You just take this out, take the buckle out, and you can adjust it, all right? Ideally, there's also a ton of belts out there that are far better than this Blackhawk one, but Blackhawk, it seems to be relatively cheap. It holds up for a long amount of time, and I've never had a problem with it. I do like the fact, again, like I said, with the inner Velcro loop, it works very well for your pants and just to throw this on. And then when you need to take your gun belt off, you just peel it off and it works very well. I will say that when you put this belt together and you put all the pouches and the holster and all the other stuff together with this, the problem that you're going to have is that there's not a lot of Velcro to connect to on the inside of this belt. All right, that's always been a problem, but with the new belts, they have MOLLE attachments where all the pouches and stuff connect to the outside of the belt, and it works very good. I'll show you one right now. New gig, this is my new rig right here. This is from Core. As you can see, everything mollies to the outside of the belt. So this way, I have a lot of retention on the inside, all right? All this MOLLE is exposed. I'm sorry, all this Velcro is exposed, which makes it very, very easy for the inner belt to connect to, and it gives it a lot more support. Therefore, I don't have to use anything called belt keepers. All right, so what the hell is a belt keeper? Very simply, in the old style of doing things, this is a belt keeper. They used to be made of leather, then they're made of rubber, and now they're made of Condora or some type of nylon. And ideally, the only thing it is you're taking your inner belt, which is your pants belt, and you're wrapping it around on the outside of your duty belt. All right, so usually they come in packs of 4 because you put 2 in the front or 2 on the side and 2 in the back. And then once you snap these in place, your belt won't move. It'll be a little bit more secure. And that's kind of what you want. You don't want to be flopping around all day long. The more motion that's on this belt, the more uncomfortable you will be. All right, let's talk about this rig from the beginning. All right, so handcuffs. All right, so with handcuffs, these happen to be, and again, these things are all beat up, the ASP or ASP handcuffs. Some department or agencies don't like them. I've never had a problem with them. They are bigger as far as the cuff size. So if you have somebody that you need to detain or put under arrest, it makes it a lot easier with these cuffs because they are very, very large as opposed to the Smiths. Now the Smiths are good, but again, with weight-wise, they are heavy. If you're going to carry 2 sets of cuffs, which I highly recommend you do, please do so. However, metal cuffs versus this polymer versus will be a lot different. So if you're going to carry 2 sets of cuffs, which I highly recommend that you do, and I'm going to get into that in a second, these tend to be a little bit lighter, these ASP cuffs, and I can carry 2 sets versus 1 set of Smiths. And again, the Smiths are good, and you know that's like the standard, the gold standard of cuffs, but the weight that you're going to have to put on that belt for 2 sets of cuffs is pretty substantial. All right, so be advised on that. All right, the reason why you carry 2 cuffs is because if you had multiple perpetrators or you had to arrest 2 people, also there are people in this world that are extremely obese. Okay, anybody that has worked in any urban environment will tell you people that are extremely obese will not fit with 1 chain or even with the hinge cuff. All right, again, some agencies do not allow hinge cuffs because you can use them as a weapon or whatever the legality is, but you're typically going to see either the ASPs or the Smith & Wessons. Those are kind of the standard norm. If you can, always carry 2 sets of cuffs. Also, if you're transporting somebody to, let's say, the courts, or you made an arrest, or whatever the case may be, you might have to switch cuffs out. Maybe the responding officer needs his cuffs for something else. Whatever the case is, if you had to put cuffs on somebody and you don't get them back to, let's say, the end of shift, at least you have another set to go to. So always carry 2 sets of cuffs. I happen to have them up front, but you can carry them wherever you like. Carry 1 set here and 1 set in the back. That's kind of the standard. Or so there's a lot of guys that like to carry it on the flat of their back because it just fits a little bit better, and we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, as far as holsters go, this is the Safariland QLS with the leg drop. Okay, as you can see here. Very, very simple. I can switch the guns out. I can switch the holsters out with the QLS system. The QLS system works pretty easy. You just snap it in and go. Also, again, if you had to go to the courthouse and you had to drop off a prisoner, it makes it very, very simple to do without taking your gun out of the holster. You can take the whole holster off and put it in the gun box. This way there's no gun handling, there's no oops, there's no NDs or ADs, so it makes a lot of sense just to get the QLS system. Now some agencies will allow you something like this. Again, Safariland is kind of the norm. Safariland has taken over almost every police agency that I've ever seen and security agency. The holsters work, they're kind of bomb proof. Some agencies will allow you to use leg drops. All right, this is a leg drop. This is not one of the newer ones. It's the Safariland. I forget what series it is, but this also has a flashlight. If I wanted to add a flashlight to my weapon, I would have to change the holster out. So very simply, if I want to take this holster and put it on here or vice versa, you can also do that. Again, a lot of agencies or departments also have a SWAT team. So this is primarily for the special SWAT team and things of that nature. Also, if you're wearing heavy body armor, you're probably going to want to have a leg drop on there as well. It gets this part out of the way and it's a lot easier to use. Okay, so if they use that, that's great. Just know that that's available. Tourniquets. All right, let's talk about tourniquets. All right, tourniquets. Let's talk about tourniquets. All right, if you do not have at this time any type of medical or TCCC, you absolutely need it. This is a tourniquet card or a T card that I developed myself. You can get them on 3riverkydex.com. I will drop the link down below if you're interested. It is a very, very slim line piece of Kydex with shock cord, and it does have a belt attachment on the back. And what that allows me to do is to carry this very, very lightweight. There are other ones that you can buy on Amazon, but they always tended to be very, very bulky and very, very heavy. The pouches will work. I don't care how you kind of carry a tourniquet. Some people just use rubber bands. Some people attach it to their holster itself. There's all kinds of devices out there. Have at least one tourniquet. Again, you're not going to war. Your IFAK is for you, okay? It's for you. If something happens where an extremity or let's say a bombing or there's some problems, you get shot and you need to tie off that bleeding immediately, you're going to need a tourniquet. All right, let's talk about ASP baton. All right, this is an expandable baton. There are many different forms of the baton. This one, it just works by inertia. So if I flip it out, I don't want to do it now because I'm on camera, but if I flip it out, it'll extend to about 2 feet. All right. We also, back in the day, used to carry this. This is a PR24, and of course, batons have come a long way. We no longer use PR24s. I guess some agencies might still do it. But this is an excellent defensive tool. All right, I don't have to shoot somebody. I could use this to defend myself, my partner, my life, whatever I need to do, and it works very well. Also, they have the straight baton where there is no handle. All right, there wouldn't be a handle on here, and you could just use it in that fashion. Again, if you're interested in learning how to use batons, there's a whole bunch of martial art classes out there that use batons, and also it's called Mondoc. Okay, go check out the Mondocs. They also have now batons where they are, I guess, button press. So if you press the button, it shoots right out. It makes it a lot easier. You don't have to flip it. It works better in confined spaces, so you don't have to actually whip this thing out anymore. This is kind of a pain in the butt to close because you have to bang it on the concrete, but very useful tool. Be advised though, with this, you are going to hit somebody with a metal pipe. Okay, so if you have training on this, you know where to hit them and where not to hit them. Okay, head, no go. All right, don't whack somebody in the face with this. All right, this is for extremities, so don't hit somebody in the chest if you can help it. All right, don't hit somebody in the neck. All right, don't hit somebody in the groin. That's not what this is for. All right, this is to get pain compliance. That's all it's for. All right, someone's wrestling with you, trying to hurt you, pain compliance only. So hands, arms, legs, that kind of thing. That's what this is for. Okay, you're not trying to dislocate somebody's spine with this. All right, it's highly illegal and you don't want the lawsuit. As far as the holsters go, this is just a very basic, simple holster. You can see it has some wear. I like the simple pouch. They make plastic hard ones where they rotate. That's fine too, but again, the more you put on there, the heavier it is, and it's a little bit more bulky. This is very, very slim line. As you can see, I put some tape on there just to give it a little bit more rigidity and just to, you know, make sure that it's in there. You don't want this thing falling out and you losing it, and then you have to defend yourself with your own baton being used against you. This loop right here, if somebody doesn't know what this loop is, that's for the larger baton. So this will fit inside here. It's just a ring. It's just a loop. That's all it's for. So if you see that on a police officer or an agent that has that loop, that's exactly what that's for. Not everybody likes to carry this. All right, this is very clumsy. If you had to run up a flight of stairs with this, you're probably going to wind up tripping yourself. All right, which is why the expandable baton came into play. It's a lot better option. It's a little bit more convenient. So again, that's why we moved on. But again, this is still on there just in case. Riot control, you're probably going to want something a little bit bigger. Okay. All right, let's look at the back of the belt. All right, I have this here, which is my IFAK kit, and we'll go in that in a second. And it's kind of basically empty back here. You don't want to put anything sharp or pointy. The only thing I have is this little tiny soft pouch, and I'll get into that pouch in a minute. Your spine should be about here, all right? You don't want anything on your spine. If you fall backwards, you could injure yourself. You could slip a disc. So ideally, if you don't even want this here, that's completely up to you. Take it off. Have at least 6 to 8 inches of space in the back of your belt where there's nothing there. Okay, you don't want anything there. Again, if you fall down some stairs, you land on your back, you're fighting with somebody, whatever the case is, you want to make sure that this is clear. Okay, the only thing I have on here is a super soft pouch, and I know someone's going to ask me, what's this for? Very simply, gloves. All right, you're going to deal with a lot of dirty, disgusting people. People might get hurt. People might be bleeding. You want some type of barrier. Ideally, I used to carry a lot of gloves in my cargo pocket or in my bag, but you also want something on your belt in case you don't have any of those things. All right, you might have washed your pants, took all the gloves out, and completely forgot that you don't have any gloves. Now you're dealing with somebody that has blood all over the place. You don't want to touch them. So that's what this little pouch is for. If you ever see anybody with this little tiny pouch, all right, there's nothing in there. There's no crazy drugs or anything. It's just to carry your gloves. That's all it is. All right. IFAK, again, very simple. Trauma shears. All right. There has been a lot of cases where you would see first responders using their knives. And again, you should carry a good pocket knife with you at all times, especially for rescue. But you don't want to take a sharp knife to someone that is rolling around, that is in pain, that might hurt themselves, whatever the case is, and then try to cut up the leg of their pants or cut their shirt off with a knife. All right, looks like you're trying to stab them. Okay, so trauma shears. Get a good set of trauma shears. This, I believe, is North American Rescue. All right, these are really good trauma shears. It also has the little piece right here, so I think that's for an oxygen bottle. That's what that's for. But these are really good trauma shears. So carry a set of trauma shears. You don't have to be a paramedic. Just put it inside your kit. All right. Inside here, make sure you stage your trauma bandage. Okay. Your trauma bandage should be staged, ready to go. All right, this is it. It's out of the packaging. And no, is it sterile? No, it's not sterile anymore because I took it out of the packaging, but this is a very, very large trauma bandage, all right? And yeah, it's clean on the inside and we'll have to roll it out. Ideally, you want this somewhere where you can get it with both hands, but of course, when you have all this stuff on the belt, it's almost near impossible to do it. But just make sure you're staging your gear ready to go. I don't want to have to fight with plastic on the sidewalk or somewhere just to get my bandage out in need of an emergency, all right? Also, quick clock. Make sure you get this version is really, really good. It's been updated. Make sure you check the dates on it, all right? This is good. I think this is 2023. Really, really good stuff. It is not cheap. It is expensive, but use what you need to use, okay? All right, your life depends on it. And inside here, again, more gloves. All right, very, very simple IFAK. All right, this goes in here. All right, so like I said, make sure you know how to stage your gear. If you don't know how to stage your gear, talk to an EMT, talk to a first responder, have somebody set you up so you know what you're doing. All right, you really want to get that training. That's good training. All right. Flashlight. I don't care what flashlight you use. I don't care which one you like. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter if it's rechargeable. It doesn't matter if it's large, small, whatever. What somebody told me a very long time ago is get the flashlight that's closest to the sun and carry that one. And the reason is because this is very, very disorienting. Okay. What you want to do and what you can do with this little piece of light is disorient somebody enough to either get away, get around, maybe take somebody into custody, that kind of thing. You're doing that on purpose, all right? So if your department issues you the flashlight, great. I don't think many departments do, or I've very rarely seen it. You can use Olight, you can use Surefire, use whatever works, okay? If you have something that's good to go, get a flashlight that is closest to the sun and carry that one. Okay, that's going to be very beneficial. And if you don't know how to use flashlight tactically, I would get some classes, get some training. All right, radio, not going to go too big into it. Most departments will issue you a radio. All right, most radios will be either encoded or encrypted, depending if you're digital or analog. There'll be some type of protocols that you will need to learn, maybe some type of codes that you will need to put over the radio. Those things you need to learn. All right. all that on-the-job training and training that you're supposed to get prior to taking a job like that, they will already have given it to you, and it's up to you. All right. You don't want to broadcast everything. Nobody cares about your lunch. Just, you know, if you're checking in or if you have a situation, you want to know how to use your radio. Some people like to use the microphones that are up near their chest, and I don't have a problem with that. I actually like that as well. Just be advised that that cord that is attached from the radio to that microphone that you put on your vest or your lapel or wherever you put it can be used to choke you out. So when I see videos where the cord is wrapped around the officer's back all the way around the front, I know that's for convenience, but now somebody could sneak up behind him and then take that cord, wrap it around his neck, and then choke him out, and then now it's on. All right. So I always like to keep the cord in front of me so I know where it is at all times. Again, your SOPs may vary. Some radios fit different pouches. That all should be worked out. I even know a lot of guys that just take a radio and throw it in their back pocket. If that's you, you know, rock on. All right. All right. As far as OC, all right, so I taped a lot of this stuff off because you don't need to know what I use, but I do like Sabre. All right, I'm a big fan of Sabre. Your department or agency will issue you at least one canister of OC. You have to be trained in OC. You cannot go around any municipality and just start pepper spraying people. All right, so people might say, well, you know, I carry it on my keychain, and yeah, that's great, that's fine, 100%. For self-defense reasons, that's acceptable. All right, someone's trying to hurt me, rob me, kill me, rape me, whatever else, and you had the little keychain, that's fine. But as somebody that's working for an agency or a department, you need to have justification as to why you used it. Okay, the rules of engagement completely change when you're wearing this duty belt and a uniform, because you're representing that service, that agency, that department. Okay, rules change. All right, so make sure you get your training. Make sure you know when to use non-lethal. Okay, mag pouches, very simply, whatever your SOP is, either, you know, with flaps, no flaps, you want to wear them sideways, you can get the triples. Maybe you have a vest that you can put them on. You decide how you want to wear it according to your agency or department. Typically, you can get mag pouches at any police store. You could also get I like the Kiwis. I'm a big fan of the Kiwis and the open tops. I'm a big fan of that. If your agency says that you can't use those, I understand, that's fine. Then you have to follow your SOPs. The flaps are basically to keep these a little bit more secure and to keep rain and debris and all kinds of crap out of your ammunition. If you're someone that has to stand outside all the time, you might want to look at that as an option. All right, all this stuff that you see here probably has a flap or something over it. All right, that's to protect the contents of what's in it. So my OC, my mags, that kind of thing. Even with handcuffs, a lot of times there's a flap over it, again, to keep it secure, to keep the rust off of it, to keep the wet, keep it out of the weather. Again, if you're going to be somebody that works outside all the time, your equipment's going to get wet and you need to protect it. All right, guys, let's go back up top. All right, guys, I hope you appreciated that video. Now, I'm going to put links down below to all the kit that you saw here. Again, I want to reiterate that I am not the end-all of all battle belts or duty gear or legalities in your state. If you are not a fan of law enforcement or security or whatever, that's do you. I'm not debating that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just here to show you the gear. And if you're somebody that wants to pursue this career, I hope that this information helped you. Please like and subscribe. Please go to all the links down below. I am an Amazon affiliate, so anything that you buy off of Amazon, I get like 1 penny on the dollar, so thank you very much. Check out the other channels that I have down below. And as always, stay safe.